Ladies and gentlemen, Barry C here with another cryptocurrency video, and XRP is ready to skyrocket. It's ready to go parabolic. Now, ladies and gents, one of the most interesting things I've been looking at over the last couple of months is looking at when the alt season is actually going to happen. Now, if you cast your mind back to 2024, and if you followed my channel for quite some time, you heard me discussing this notion that the first leg up of the bull run would be October heading into November, and then kind of peaking in December before we hit the Christmas break that most people would experience, Christmas into New Year's. And sure enough, we saw XRP absolutely lead the way. But then coming into 2025, we didn't see the typical second leg up of the bull run, what everyone knows as the alt season. That didn't occur. And so now I'm looking at it going, well, could it play out like 2017? Now, if that's the case, then in 2017, the market started moving August into September. And I know I can hear everybody going, oh, I've got to wait till September. Well, look, this is one of the reasons why, if you've followed me for quite some time, and even if you followed me early last year, you heard me talking about taking profit with XRP in November of 2024. Now, let's be really realistic about it. I was ridiculed. A lot of people thought I was making a massive mistake. And especially for those of you who are in the Barry C VIPs and the Patreon, I talked a lot about building a take profit bag that was completely separate from my other XRP bags when it came to profit taking, so that when I hit prices like $2 and $3, I could comfortably take profits without compromising my short-term, mid-term, and long-term holdings. And this is something that I learned very early on when it came to crypto, and I don't see it discussed anymore. No one really talks about it. Everybody's chasing the new fad, whether it's a meme coin, whether it's a new staking pool that offers you 500% rewards, whatever it may be. Everyone's chasing the new, shiny, bright, exciting thing. But sometimes it's the old classics that prove tried and true. And that was one of the things I learned kind of the hard way when I first started in crypto back in 2016, heading into 2017, is you don't have to necessarily wait for that big skyrocketing up to a certain price point moment to make really great amounts of profit. If you set yourself up, and you've heard me talk about this before, if you give yourself a short-term, mid-term, and long-term plan, then when you hit certain price points, you're in a really great position to actually take some profit. And this is what I did with XRP. And ladies and gents, just because I took some profit doesn't mean that I don't think XRP could hit $100 or even $1,000 one day. I absolutely believe it will. But the main point I think should be reiterated is that you shouldn't necessarily just wait on the sidelines going, well, until it hits $100 or $1,000, that's when I'll take profit. Because that's how people end up round tripping their crypto profits. What I mean by that is crypto at the moment exists on a 4-year cycle. You've got your Bitcoin halving event, you have your post-halving bull run, you've got your first leg up of the bull run, then you have your alt season. Then after the alt season, we see a 40, 50, sometimes 60% correction, and that's where we end up with a 3.5-year bear market. And so for that whole 4-year period, people watch their crypto skyrocket, hit these amazing prices, then crash back down. Then after 4 years again, skyrocket, hit these amazing prices, crash back down. And where you don't want to be is going, well, after 4 years, making that same mistake again and again and again. And ladies and gents, look, not financial advice. Everybody has their own strategy and their own price points and their own take profit goals. For me personally, I would rather have some profits in my back pocket while I'm waiting to see what the market does than be looking back at November 2024 or even early Jan 2025 and saying to myself, I wish I'd done things differently. And I know there's a lot of people, especially in the XRP community, who had some really great profits on the table. And they were so married to these price points. They were adamant that they're not going to take profit till it goes to $10 or $100 or $1,000. There's no way they were going to take profit at $2 or $3. And they ended up costing themselves hundreds of thousands. I reckon there's even people who cost themselves millions of dollars. And look, once again, everybody has their own strategy. But for me personally, I've been in crypto long enough to go, you know what? I would happily have some money in my back pocket to see what the landscape is going to do, to see where crypto is going. Because look, there's no absolute certainty when it comes to crypto. I can make my best calculated plans and decisions based on how the market has grown and evolved from 2016 until now. I can make my best calculated decisions and my calculated guesstimations that, look, we're going to have a Bitcoin halving event. We typically have a post-halving bull run. And within that bull run, we see an alt season. And within that alt season, we see prices that defy any type of logic, any type of expectation. That's why everybody is in crypto, because they experience an alt season and the prices are so life-changingly amazing that everybody wants to get in. And that's why you see the market growing and growing and growing. It's because of the reputation of what an alt season brings. And we've yet to see that in 2025. And that's why when I look at XRP, quite comfortably sitting around the $2 mark, I go, well, look, we haven't seen the alt season. And so XRP is absolutely primed to skyrocket. And the main mistake people make, and this is what happened in 2024, was that from 2021 until early 2024, XRP was sitting around 30 cents to 50 cents. And people looked at that and they go, well, it's meant to be the number one crypto in finance, so why is it 30 cents or 40 cents or 50 cents or 60 cents? Why would I buy that? And it wasn't until XRP started skyrocketing and it went from 50 cents to over $2 a coin to $2.50, $2.60, $2.70 in the space of 1 month. And then people became desperate to buy some. And unfortunately, it's always been this way, since I've been in crypto anyway, where people directly equate the value of a digital asset with its price. They don't look at XRP and they go, well, look, it's the number one crypto in finance. It's the only crypto that's been trialed by banks and financial institutions around the world. It could absolutely change the financial landscape forever. They don't look at that. They go, well, if it's so good, why is it not $100? Why is it not $1,000? And unfortunately, what will happen is that when XRP does finally see that mass adoption, and we start seeing prices like $100 or $1,000, that's when people will happily buy in. They will happily pay $100 or $1,000 instead of $2 right now. And we saw that on a much smaller level in November 2024. Let's say if you go back to December 2023, right before the Bitcoin ETFs were launched, people were rolling their XRP into Solana. They were trying to chase these green candles, these pumps, because Solana was having a mini rally. And everyone was like, well, XRP is still below $1. It's dead. It's not going anywhere. And then 2024 happened and the Bitcoin ETFs happened and a lot more money came into the market. And people are still trying to dunk on people going, well, look, we rolled in Solana. Look at the little bit of profit we made. And then November 2024 rolls around. And suddenly XRP is going parabolic. And I would argue, yes, it is parabolic to go from 30 cents to 50 cents to $1, $2, $2.50, $2.60, $2.70 in the space of a month. Effectively, XRP led the way. It was the first crypto to lead the alt season. Well, the first leg up of the bull run, the start of the alt season. So that's a much smaller level of what we can expect, not just in an alt season, but when it comes to an actual utility run. And people will react the same way. When we get to the height of an alt season or the height of a utility run, people will look back and realize that they've made a massive mistake when it comes to XRP. And this leads me back to my original point, which is XRP is ready to skyrocket. We just need to see that alt season kick in. I'm not even talking about a utility run here, I'm talking about alt season. where we could see XRP go to $10, $20. Look, maybe even more. Depends on how parabolically crazy this alt season is. And that's why it's so important when we have this type of downtime, where the market's not performing as well as we hoped it would. That's when, for me personally, and this is not financial advice, but I would use this time to build and grow. So when the market does take a drastic turnaround and things start going crazy, you're in a position to actually take some profits. And I said this for years and years and years before we saw November 2024 kick off. And so many people were in a position where they actually couldn't take profits because they needed a much higher price point. And I've been in that position before. I've been through 2 bull runs already. So I know what it's like when you're sitting there going, well, if I just had done this, or if I'd built my bags a bit more, I'd be in a much better position to actually take some profits. So for me personally, I've used this time where the market hasn't performed to build and grow my bags. Not just with XRP, with other projects as well. So when the alt season does kick in, I'm in the best position possible to take as much profit as possible. And this is also very true with XRP. Because here's the thing, whether you believe XRP could go to $100 or $1,000 or maybe even more, 10,000, let's just say hypothetically, that's a very good goal to have. But then what are you going to do while you're waiting for that to happen? You have to be in a position where you can actually go, look, I can maybe get a house. Maybe I'm taking care of medical bills. Maybe I'm putting my kids through school. Whatever it may be, you have to try and set yourself up to be in the best position possible while you're waiting for this life-changing money. And that's not financial advice. This is something that I've been working on as long as I've been in crypto, trying to figure out, okay, how can I build my bags so when I take profit, I'm not compromising what I could potentially do in the future. Because here's the thing, ladies and gents, XRP is the only crypto that has the potential of a utility run outside of just an alt run as well. Most cryptos are tied to the 4-year cycle, and most cryptos, their all-time high is only found within the confines of an alt season. Most cryptos won't get a utility run because most cryptos won't be adopted into banks and financial institutions around the world. And that's why XRP is so unique and so special, because it's going to see really amazing price points in the alt season. But it's when we see that mass adoption, when banks and financial institutions around the world, when they start adopting and utilizing XRP, that's when we see the prices that exceed $100. That's when we start seeing the $1,000, maybe $10,000, maybe more. That's when we see generational wealth. And that's why it's so important to go, okay, short term, mid-term, long term. What are my goals? What are my plans? How can I make the most out of each scenario, each price point? And as I said, ladies and gents, not financial advice, but this is what I'm doing right now to prepare myself for not only this year, but the next couple of years. And as I said, put myself in the best position possible to make as much profit as possible with XRP. Now, ladies and gents, as stated, as always, none of this is financial advice. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And if you're curious about the other cryptos I hold outside of XRP, consider becoming a Patreon. Click the link in the description below, head across to my Patreon page, and consider becoming a Barry C VIP. There you'll have access to all the cryptos I hold, as well as my buy, sell, and take profit signals in real time.